how much I appreciate you coming out. This is a week before Christmas. I know you all have one or two things you could be doing right now. And I appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. Because I know that it's a hectic time of year, but I also know you're all are warriors. You're all part of an organization that you're running yourself because you see a problem out here. You see the house is on fire. And you're running around trying to warn people in the house. Your house is on fire. And they ignore you. They pretend like you don't exist. And all through your busy days, you are running into people all day long that you want to reach out and touch and shake and grab. And sometimes they may blink like they're alive. You may hit a nerve, and somebody gets it. And they turn to you and say, yeah, that makes sense. What do you do with them? The reason I asked you to come here tonight, and not at our normal place, at the Drury Inn, the reason I asked you to come here was to see this facility. I want you to understand what's in your midst here. Like-minded Christian leaders raising children to fear God, not man. A facility right here in your midst. So when you're talking to someone, some mother who's afraid for their kid and the direction the child is going, or some father who's afraid of his child not getting what he needs, mention this place. So that we can get these kids in early into a school that believes in godly principles. He just heard the man on the tour. Godly principles, biblical principles. So get these kids in early so that when we become young men and women and seek a real education, a college education where they won't graduate with $60,000 in debt and no future, and only learn how to hate God and hate themselves and hate their parents. They have a background to go to Brooks and now have a facility available. We're going to build right here in St. Louis. We're going to build a place. See, all of us are leaders. The MC back here, man, he rides through Grand driving a bus the middle of the night, witnessing to people about his God. On the bus, the thugs, the drug addicts, the witnessing about who he is. Not ashamed of the gospel, not ashamed of his values. What happens if he meets someone? What I'm trying to do here, folks, is to give you a tool now. We now have a tool that as we go out during the day, doing what we do all day long. Some of you are bringing women out of abortion clinics. Some of you are working down at the Christian shelter for women. And you got these people who are broken, and you can help them, and you can feed them. But biblically, you're told to first teach them. You cannot just witness and walk away. You have to bring them someplace to get some milk food. You got to bring them someplace. You can't do that yourself. You're not pastors, you're not teachers, but you're warriors. And you're out here doing things, and now you have a tool that you can use. It's a missing piece of our equipment. We're all warriors. We got the plates and the brass, and we got the sword, and we got the word, and we're full of it, and we go out here and we share it. But when you get that twinkle in the eye, there is no place to bring them. You have to leave them there. It's like if you took an airplane right to Saudi Arabia, a 17-hour flight. You sit next to a 9-generation Muslim. He's sitting next to you for 17 hours. And you witness to him for 17 hours. And while you land in a rad, you come in for a landing, he gets it. He turns to you and says, I get it. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Can you pray for me? What do I do next? As the plane comes in for a landing and taxis to the gate, you're done with him. What happens if you leave him to go back to his family? What happens if you leave him to his old friends? Unless you bring him to some place that can gather around him and teach him, you've lost him. And what I'm saying now, folks, is that Brooks Bible College is the missing tool that we've had. Because we've all go out here and we talk, we do our thing that we're doing, and there's many, many groups here, many organizations here. And we do our job, and we show Christ in us when we're out there in the streets doing our thing. But once we win that one person in the crowd who gets it, we have nowhere to bring them. So what I'm suggesting you do is to now have a facility here that you know this place is serious. I'm not talking about the skating rink. I'm not talking about the bowling alley. I'm not talking about that great gym down the hall. I'm talking about the spiritual leadership of this school is solid. Brooks Bible College doesn't take government funds because they want to be free. That's solid. This is a no-play situation here. They want to be able to stand in front of men of God and women of God and teach God's principles without the government whispering in their ear and talk about what you should not say. This is why I'm here. I'm stepping down as president of Jesus Caucus. And my wife, who does all the work anyway, is taking over president. And I'm devoting at least 6 months to try to develop a relationship with Brooks College and our community. And we want to bring those people that we know who we're talking about, people like us, like-minded people like us, to come get the foundation. Can you imagine what would happen with black men and black women with a foundation of Christian values in their heart? What would happen to our neighborhood, in our community? You know, ask Eddie Cage on the bus trying to pull these drunks off the bus, and at the same time, what is he to them? They see him for years. They say, this guy is solid. He hasn't changed. He's been committed. So what do you do now? You have to now give the education. Because folks, let's face it. We're not learning a whole lot about God in our churches today. We're not learning a whole lot about God. So we got to find out some place to go. That's why I brought you here. I want you to see the partner that's here, led by his pastor, led by the administrators. This is a place of refuge, a place for training. And if any of you are not homeschooling your children, you got them in public schools, talk to Mike about rescuing your kids and put them in a place they can learn about each other. And when they graduate, come out to Brooks. What we're going to be doing the next few months, we're going to be raising funds for scholarships so that you not only can go to school at Brooks, but you find someone who needs something or a pastor who needs some training, we want to be able to offer them the scholarship. We're going to be raising funds to raise up men and women that can stand against that when we know it's coming. Right now, this country is afraid. People are waking up right now knowing they've been fooled, knowing they've been lied to, knowing they've been hustled. They know they'll put their faith in a wrong system. They know it, but they don't know what to do about it. They don't know where to go. They've been told to hate you. They've been told that you're mean, that you're lousy, that you're crazy. They've been told everything to make them not want to turn to you. But they know something is wrong. And when a mother and father wakes up tomorrow morning and got to find food and shelter and clothing and health care and legal advice, when they have to find, they don't know even how to look because they have not been educated, they've only been indoctrinated. We've been missing that one element, education of our people, to bring people to a point where they could live holy because they're living God's way. See, the most safest place, the reason Eddie could walk. This man walked. I'm going to tell this story. I'm testifying for him, but he walked, 15 blocks? 15 blocks at night? At night? Through the neighborhood. Because he had 2 jobs. He's walking 15, are you kidding me, 15 blocks? Because he knows the safest place to be is in the will of God. And if you know that, folks, if you understand that, then what we see out here is the Goliath. Goliath is a lie. We see Goliath. What he sees is a fall giant. What I see is a fallen wall around Jericho. What Dr. Stockton sees is a split, wide open Jordan. We're going to act like we believe God. We're going to go out in this community out here. We're going to change the hearts. We don't have to protest in front of abortion clinics if we change the hearts. We don't have to worry about how many teenage pregnancies we have if we change the hearts. What we're going to do is change the culture. We're going to introduce a brand new culture. It's not going to be East Coast or West Coast. It's not going to be white or black. It's going to be the culture of Christ. The culture of Christ doesn't matter what color you are or what church you go to. The culture tells you how to marry, how to raise your kids, how to work. What about welfare? It tells you about abortion. It tells you about every decision in your life. We bring it to the cross. We now have 2 new team members facing us. I know your stories. You guys have been out here for years. You've been kicking down the doors, breaking the barriers. You've been protesting and marching and demonstrating, and no one knows who you are. We're going to stop that. We're going to organize ourselves. We're going to organize ourselves for education and motivation. We're going to find some help for you. We're going to have places you can go to for advice. We have funding people. We also have nurturers. We're going to be a team now. They're not going to know what hit them in St. Louis. They're not going to know. They don't know nothing about it. That's why I had this meeting privately. I want to thank Kathy, because Kathy and I sat down and we said, we're going to invite just the leaders. We're not going to announce it to the world. There's no big mega churches here. I know all of them. There's no big pastors here. I don't know them. I know you guys. I know your hearts. I know your labor. I know what you stand for. And you know me. And I'm telling you folks, we're going to rise up the army of God, and we're going to push back this darkness in St. Louis, and we're going to educate. Because see, once you educate a person, you've changed this culture for generations. Not just one culture, not just one generation, for generations. You change this mindset. I mean, you have a young man making babies, but getting married, all of a sudden, that the idea of marriage, the idea of taking care of a providing for my family, the idea I have to do something means you got to think about the next generation called children. If you're thinking about the next generation, then you're worried about your taxes. You're worried about your being on welfare. You're worried about living right. So tonight, you guys have the brochures. You met Dr. Stockton. I advise you to go see him. The new facility is great out here. We're going to have a place to gather, not just for the wounded that we have out here, but for ourselves, to gather around with the experts and learn how to more effectively do what we all want to do. That is to change the heart of this city. I am tired of hearing how bad my city is. It is time they start hearing how good our God is. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys coming on time within budget.